designs and work and ideas that they're trying to share.
Yeah.
And also the delivery side of the work is often visualized on these walls too. So they're like really vibrant environments where all it's like the kind of Google style of offices, if you like.
Yeah.
So I just managed to find this pocket that was challenging the establishment at a time where I was quite anti-establishment, I guess.
Yeah.
Despite the contradiction of being on the grad scheme. So, yeah.
Well, I suppose.
Good, man.
I suppose, Ryan,
really
it's part and parcel of being in this environment in the UK. Given your background, I know you're saying it seems like a contradiction, but I suppose it's what it is, as they say. It is what it is.
No, it's just like a man on a mission, you know.
And you just deal with it as you can.
When I look back, even now, because it was I left Lloyd's a good few years ago now.
Yeah.
And actually, probably 3 years ago, I left Lloyd's actually. So yeah, I worked at a few startups and then IBM, and then now obviously through my own company, a bunch of my own clients. But the first 18 months were miserable. I hated what I was doing. I didn't really want to be there,
right.
but I just stuck at it, and I continued to try and find other ways that I found interesting, that I could have an impact in the organisation. For example, I was doing cyber security. I was in an IT grad scheme.
Right. Okay.
I'm not actually into cyber security really at all. It's not my thing.
Right. Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be analysing how intricate the systems work, or managing the program as a whole, which is the 2 jobs they gave me, because I was so keen. I wanted 2 jobs, and I noticed that the grad scheme wasn't working properly for the new grads that were being onboarded. So I got a bunch of people together that were interested in kind of solving that problem, and we solved the problem together, and that kind of got me a bit of a reputation. Then like the talent manager, his name's Damien, he actually started inviting me to little conferences and talks and stuff like that, and my brain was just always churning with ideas, and he took me to this meeting where it was a lot of like tech organisations getting together and discussing like the state of the nation for tech as an industry in the UK.
Right.
And it was actually the BBC boardroom right in this slap bang in the city of London.
Yeah.
With like all the old BBC leaders in their portraits all around the room and everything.
Old school.
Proper boardroom. It was a proper old school boardroom. It was mad. But in that session I realised that they were doing a terrible job of trying to achieve their aim.
Yeah.
What they were trying to do was get young people to care about becoming a part of the digital industry and see the opportunity there for them by going and doing like careers fairs, right? No one wants a careers fair. They're the most boring thing ever. You walk around and get a couple of leaflets. You're looking through the refreshments and the door as soon as you get there. So you need to create immersive experiences that create emotion for people to create new neural pathways in the brain and therefore new muscle memory and new desired behaviour, right? You can't just talk at them, they've got to experience something. So I come up with an idea. It was called Discover Your Digital Future. I managed to get 70 people across Lloyd's to volunteer to help me do this, all through their own time and effort. I convinced a bunch of executives to support me, so I managed to get funding in place. I also got 9 different tech partners. We had Facebook there, Microsoft there, we had Accenture there, a bunch of people helping us out there. Vodafone were there as well. And we designed it based on your senses, so it was see, do and think. So every young person would go through 2 different cycles throughout the day, and each cycle was see, do, think. So we had 400 young people turn up to my old university in Manchester, and we just took over the whole business centre, the whole new business school, and we just facilitated a bunch of really short, snappy 8-minute talks, a bunch of 45-minute hands-on team problem solving exercises, and then a bunch of kind of hour-long experiences playing with a bit of technology and listening to someone who's young from that organisation that's worked their way to being on the grad scheme or something.
Right, gosh.
And so, that Lloyd's had never done anything like that before.
Right.
I got You know, there's when you get a change to your credit card statement, there's the top executive that signs that off to say, like, yeah, you know, this is a formal change to your credit card terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Or if there's been like a problem and you get the apology letter.
Yeah.
That guy sent me an email, like a massive email, personally written, just saying how like blown away he was that someone had been able to make that happen. And he was like, some people try their whole lives to make something like that happen. And it was a lot of work, a lot of effort, but I really wanted to get these young people to actually experience this, the industry that had just started giving me a new lease of life. Because it took about 6 months of like the idea and the planning, and throughout that time I actually then left the boring work I wasn't enjoying and found the work that I wanted to do. Because I'd obviously made a bit of a network and connections around the organisation at this point in time, and I'd managed to find a way into the stuff I wanted to do. And it just, like, you know, when things line up for you almost.
Well,
then,
I hear what you're saying, but I think you're maybe underestimating your impact, because I know you're saying things do line up, but you were at the heart of it. It wasn't by accident that these things came. Well, I mean, no, you know, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, it's just actually because I'm listening to what you said from the beginning and piecing it all together in my head, that you've come to a place, you know, where you kind of might end up by saying, well, things seem to line up, but, you know, it was a long, hard struggle, wasn't it? Well, I mean, I say long, hard struggle. It was a group of experiences that you've gone through, you've turned it around, and you've worked for it, and things slowly start to, like, you know, catch up with you, I guess, and then fall into pace with where you're going, what you want to do, and the energy you have as well. So just to give you that feedback, you know, I'm thinking.
Wow, it's blown me away, that one. That's great.
No, but I'm thinking to myself, but I'm thinking this young man, he's done so much, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, I need to be doing something more. So no, I'm serious. I'm serious, and I think even for people listening out there, I'm sure they're going to be saying to themselves, this guy's 28 and he's done so much already. So I mean, I just don't want you to even underestimate the power of what you're saying, because I'm receiving it for myself and thinking, I need to get a move on. I've done a few things, but I'm thinking, I need to do more. I need to actually be more, even bolder. Great,
let's talk. Maybe we can do something together, mate. We've got a lot of the same interests.
Definitely.
We care about the same things.
That's right, but definitely, but also actually, no, definitely, Ryan. But I'm thinking also is that in terms of, maybe you mentioned at the beginning about what was it? Not reaching out, but actually breaking down that thing of going to a place you're not maybe used to. Maybe it could be based in fear or whatever it is, but the experience. Try to grab different experiences. So you're giving me lots of like good energy.
Oh, definitely. That's something you just made me think of there. Actually, it's really important. Actually, especially for people in lockdown as well, because having your, you know, I don't want to get into it because no one really wants to talk about it, but you know, you have got your civil liberties seemingly taken away from you, haven't you? Right? And there doesn't seem to be many different options that you can choose every day. But someone actually said this to me about in the last lockdown. They said, how could you make every day just a little bit different? You know? And I started thinking about that, and it sounds so simple, but when you look at this neurologically, or, you know, through neuroscience, when you do something new, and if you do that new thing with a intention and like emotion, therefore, because you know what you're doing, your brain actually creates like a new pathway. It's like creating a road between two different receptors in the brain.
You're carving a new road for yourself.
You're carving a new road for yourself, but the brain is not linear, it's non-linear, right? So what that means is you're going to carve a road, but actually it's not a one-directional road necessarily, because just because you chose to walk a different direction today, you might then come up with a different way of writing an email to a client, right? Or a different way of having a conversation with your spouse or your your friend later on that day, right?
Yeah.
So these one small change can create such a significant impact in the brain.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's as simple as just walking a new direction consciously.
You know what, Rayyan? It's funny because you're making me think back to therapy and its impact. Because I think that's what happens as well.
They are interlinked.
Yeah, of course. And I think you're helping to create sort of new pathways or ways of thinking, and just ways of thinking that's going to help you maybe escape from thoughts or images that you don't desire. So I think in the same way, you're just reminding me about the effectiveness of talking therapies and what they can offer, and for actual people to go on and explore what these are. Because I mean, lots of people go through stuff, and I guess lots of us hide them as well. It's difficult, and it's challenging. So I really appreciate what you say.
This is why I keep going back to that human condition thing, right? Because there's some things, some words are horrible things. They can get you into lots of trouble.
Yeah.
And they can also paint terrible things in the brain. A good example of that is disadvantaged young people. They're not. There's a lot of power and a lot of advantage coming from a tough socio-economic background, right? So why do you use that word?
Yeah.
Also, how can you suffer with a mental health issue, right? That's what people say, right? You suffer with an issue. But part of our beings is built into us that we're going to have ranging levels of energy, right?
Yeah.
If you overexert yourself one day physically, you're going to be tired the next day. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
And it's all one system. It's all interlinked. So your brain is working in the same kind of fashion.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Definitely. Hello?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Can you hear me?
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I've lost my point there. Go on.
No. Again, what you're saying, because I was hanging on to your words in terms of your brain and how it all links in terms of creating new pathways and ways of thinking, and so we're going around in a way, we're sort of coming full circle. In terms of
going through our own cycle of thinking there, aren't we?
Yeah, and then so this is, I suppose, again, in terms of what we're trying to do here on All Flavors, is trying to educate people as to maybe just being increasingly self-aware and how that helps you to traverse possible challenges. And like you say, even the language as well, be really sort of aware of the language that's being used. And even think about that and how that affects our well-being and state of health, and our ability to challenge ourselves to do better for ourselves as well.
It's like I see your physical condition to be the same as your mental condition, right? I don't necessarily think you suffer physical conditions. You might have certain ailments and things you need. You could choose to find ways to try and alleviate by different medicines, different exercises, different breathing techniques. And the mind's the same. In my mum's situation, her brain does not produce serotonin, so there's a complete chemical imbalance, so she needs pharmaceutical drugs to give her that the chemical stimulation that she wouldn't necessarily have otherwise, right?
Okay.
So you could even, in her extent, you could say, you suffer a mental illness, right? But in itself, that container for that emotional journey is not helpful or useful.
Yeah. And like you say, the wording can be damaging.
Is it really true? Because as humans, we go through a range of experiences.
Yeah.
It's a very abstract kind of world almost that we live in, isn't it? At times, right? It's not. We're animals, really, and we live in this kind of structured kind of way. There's obviously something slightly stranger for us, and I feel like modern society has come so far in its ways because we've really stimulated our intellect, right?
Yeah.
Which means we can analyze things in lots of ways, and we get to try and have a really big kind of like source of memory.
Yeah.
But because we've got this big pool of memory, we've got so much in the mind that it's going to cause us problems. So we're all in that situation because we all are in the same system, and that system is going to create the same impact on all of us. So we will all have fluctuating states of well-being, and like I say, they can be looked at holistically, but they should not, in my mind, be kind of and this might be unpopular, but I don't think they should be, labelled and just put in a box, and given prescriptions.
Well, that's right. I mean, and going back to what you're saying about putting things in boxes is almost like entrapping people maybe into a way of thinking.
Yeah.
Because I experienced that with some people I work with. Some people like labels because it helps them to think about perhaps what they have in inverted commas and then move from there.
Yes.
It kind of poses it's like you ring fence the whole person once you say I have either schizophrenia or any other mental health condition that you want to think about, or not necessarily mental health, other things to do with learning, ADHD, ADD, all those types of stuff. And it's interesting what you're saying, because it does for some people pigeonhole them. And then, how do you get out of that? Because like you say, we really think about the whole person. You're a unique human being, and you come into this world and you have experience of life, and whatever you want to label it, there's so much more. I can't work with a condition. I can work with a human, and then from there sort of build on that. So I like what you had to say on that one.
It's that subtle difference, isn't it, between saying you are this and saying you are showing signs of.
Yeah.
If I tell you are, now we're talking to your identity.
That's right. And I think that goes across many walks of life. And it's funny, it's not even to do with your mental health. I think, people describe themselves like that as their professions. I'm a fireman, I am a doctor, I am a, and then we get into this habit of actually saying this is who we are, when actually that's not who we are. You're
not a job title.
No, exactly. And we're not.
Be a job title.
And we're not even a name. So we can go down a rabbit hole with that as well.
Some people even suggest that you're not your body and you're not your mind.
Yeah.
You're somewhere else.
That's right. So what
are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
I love this sort of stuff. I like to, if you get really, Again, over the last couple of years, got quite into meditation, and more recently a little bit of yoga, and actually Tai Chi really opened the door for me.
Yeah.
So anyone in East London interested in Tai Chi, actually, Tai Chi Balance.
Yeah.
London, awesome instructor, has like over 20 years experience. He's won some gold medals. His name's Rick.
Yeah.
And he really opened my mind to the fact that your emotions, your body, your experience is all completely interconnected.
Yeah.
And you can actually physically experience it. It's not an intellectual understanding.
No.
It's an embodiment that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you can start to embody it and get calm and start to allow those kind of questions to just be pondered upon, and let your brain, it's crazy what can emerge.
Right. Yeah. And like you say, not knowing what you don't know is kind of exciting as well, and even be prepared for that to learn what you don't know. It's an interesting journey, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Life is in the mystery, isn't it? So we have to experiment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ryan, we're gonna stop with that, the idea of experiment, if you don't mind. But it's been fascinating. No, seriously, it's been fascinating speaking to you and listening to what you've got to say. And I think as a young man, you as a young man, and me listening to you as an older man, I'm actually thinking, boy, I need to do a lot of work. There's lots to be done. No, I'm being quite serious. And I think you're going to be, you are very inspirational, and I think you're giving light to people out there as well. People that listen to the show hopefully will get that from me, and I welcome all sort of the responses that people will have in terms of listening to what you had to say on All Flavors. I think you're going far, and I'm interested to see where you actually go to next, and then after that. So no, I really thank you for giving me this time to really understand your world so far.
Thank you for having me on and for listening and for an amazing conversation. I really enjoyed that.
No, thanks again.
And thanks for all those kind words as well. I appreciate those too.
Well, they're kind words, but I think they're honest words. It's something, because like I say, you made me think about so many other things, and I'm sure people out there are going to have similar thoughts and feelings. But Ryan, as we end, can you just again plug your two businesses before we finish up?
Yeah, definitely. So it's organisational behaviour change for systemic, structural and profound new results is transforming perceptions. And 6-week behaviour change programme for young people, focused predominantly on ages 14 to 19, is called Design Your Future. For everything, if you just type in RayyanKarim.com, all my information can be found there. Thanks again for having us on.
Yeah, right, no problem. And take care of yourself. Thanks again.
All right, mate. Thank you.